If someone says something to you like, hey, nice shirt, how do you know whether or not they're giving you a real compliment or being sarcastic? Here's the thing. You'll never really know for sure, but instead, you get to decide. The speaker puts out the words, sure, but you, as the listener, get to decide how to interpret the energy behind those words. You see, if your confidence and frequency are low, you'll have doubts about even the most genuine and loving compliments. Let's go back to the example of, hey, nice shirt. When someone says, hey, nice shirt, and your own energy is negative, you may say to yourself, oh, he's being sarcastic. Oh, he's just saying that so I won't feel bad. Oh, he's just saying that because he wants me to like him. No, he's just saying that because he wants to seem nice in front of his girlfriend. Whatever hoops your brain needs to jump through to see someone else's words in a negative light, it will jump through. If you focus on negativity, that is. Now, on the other side of things, if you have borderline delusional confidence and positivity, even the most rude and sarcastic comments won't faze you. Because if you're operating at a high frequency, with love in your heart, you'll be able to jump through those same hoops to disarm any sort of animosity that might be coming from your conversation partner. No, he's being sarcastic. Oh, it's just boys being boys. He knows I can handle his aggressive jokes. He's probably just having a bad day. Oh, I'm sure he regrets what he said. If your energy is high enough, no words can hurt you. Compared to actions, words are incredibly weak. After all, language is literally just random sounds made by smacking meat flaps together. Imagine letting random sounds made by smacking meat flaps together determine your mood in any meaningful way. Cringe! You're better off getting upset over numbers. At least numbers mean something a little more objective. I would like this video to address the idea that words don't really matter. It's not about what you say, but how you say it. Now, don't get me wrong, you should still choose your words relatively carefully, because it's a fact that some words or combinations of words will cause an emotional response in people. And if you're one of those people, here's what I have to say to you. I understand if negative words make you feel uncomfortable, anxious, fearful, sad, furious even, because they are negative energy. And when one of your brothers in humanity puts in effort to send negative energy towards you, it hurts. Sadly, hurt is a part of this weird game of life that we're all playing. But I want to propose the theory that negative energy can easily be dispelled by positive energy. And that just because words are traditionally negative doesn't mean that there's always negative energy behind them. Kill them with kindness is certainly a strange English expression. If you're not an English speaker, it's a phrase that encourages one to respond to aggression or adversity from their neighbors with kindness and forgiveness. Now, ironically, using the word kill, it also references violence, which of course is basically what language was invented to prevent. Whether language was invented or whether it was naturally developed is irrelevant, of course, because there's no way to know for sure. That's why stressing over the word choice used to articulate the idea that language is a special skill set that humans have somehow acquired is silly. Whether you believe in pure evolution or that language comes from a soul gifted to us by a higher power is sometimes going to become apparent from the words you select. And if you hear someone's speech that signals to you that they believe something different than you, I'm asking all of you listeners to please train yourself to deal with how it affects you. I'm not asking for it not to affect you. It should affect you. I just want to introduce the idea that an effective response to negativity with words is positivity with words. Now, positivity can come in many different forms. As an example, I want to tell you a story of a guy I play hockey with. Upon first impressions, he's a stereotypical, standoffish, quick to point out your mistakes and slow to compliment you kind of guy. A lot of the words that we say to each other are criticisms, insults, and the crafting of scenarios about one another that I probably shouldn't describe on YouTube. If you saw our words on paper, you would assume that we were bound for a fight. But if you were around us, you would notice that all of our arguments, if you will, are said with a smile and an effort in mutual understanding and betterment. And if an actual serious topic comes up, or if I ever see him outside of the hockey rink, he'll be the first to shake my hand and send positive energy. This time with different words. Now, this is just a game, of course, so who cares? So let's apply the same idea to a deeper topic. I know a lot of people think that sports are purely physical, but they can also be mental, spiritual, emotional, and educational. That's definitely part of the reason why they're so popular. There's a principle that suggests the more time you spend around someone, the more you'll end up finding in common with them. And at the very least, recognizing them as your equal. Your brother in humanity. Let's extrapolate that to the micro level. In theory, the more dialogue you have with someone you disagree with, the more likely you are to make peace with them. So assuming that principle is true, which I think it is, I'm going to make an assertion. If you want to make the world a better place, and someone comes at you with negative energy, it's almost your duty to help them make peace with themselves and engage in further dialogue with them. Now, I understand there comes a point where maybe it's better to just walk away. But even walking away is an infinite amount of times better than sending negative energy back. But you'll never even see a need to send energy back if you train yourself not to even perceive negative energy from someone else's words. Let's look at another example with one of the most common reasons that people perceive negative energy from someone else's words: language choice. When you hear another language being spoken, what do you think? As an American, I'm typically very shocked. Wait, these people actually think in this other language? They aren't just translating from English? I wonder if they know English. Should I ask them what language that is? That's because I try to live my life positively. But I also understand how, if another American is in a bad mood or looking at their life in a negative lens, they could have thoughts like, what an ugly sounding language. Why aren't they speaking in English? They don't respect my culture. I might tell them to speak English instead. You have to understand that people don't often choose the thoughts that come into their head. Thoughts are a manifestation of the energy we carry, but they're just put into words. Even monks who meditate and isolate for years are likely still guilty of the occasional involuntary or intrusive thought. So you can't judge people for saying nasty things. They aren't exactly choosing to have these negative thoughts. But remember, these people's negative words and thoughts are coming from some sort of negative energy feedback loop monster within them. And you can help defeat, or at least weaken, that monster through your own positive energy. Let's look at some possible examples of what you could say when someone's vocalizing their negative energy in our speak English scenario. Sure, if you witness someone yelling at someone else for not speaking English, you could yell at them. But I think it's more effective to ask those people genuine questions or to make jokes. If someone was yelling at someone else for not speaking English and you just started yelling back, it would be a lot easier for the aggressor to dehumanize you and continue down the same negative spiral. But if you genuinely try to start a dialogue, for example, asking the aggressor, "What language do you think it is?" or "What part of the city do you hear only English?" might be a lot nicer approaches for trying to level with the negative person in the conversation and help elevate their consciousness a bit. Remember, you get to decide what words mean. Just because someone says something doesn't mean that you know what they're truly thinking. Most people are confused and unsure, even the most successful ones. And how can you not be? You just spawned in this strange, dreamlike game of infinity, and you don't know what's coming next, and neither does anybody else. So let's accept the fact that insecurity is a natural state. Stop trying to one-up one another, and choose to interpret the words of others in a more forgiving and understanding way.